In the dark, bloody atmosphere, an unknown creature looms, and the demon's eyes glow as if after retaking a biology exam from an angry teacher. The hero Alvin is introduced, a man who fancies himself the savior of the continent but, judging by his smug smile, is more likely to dream of glory than actual exploits. The hero declares that every self-respecting protagonist is obliged to meet a beautiful lady somewhere, so romance is assigned to him by the plot as a death sentence to the villain. Tsundere appears first, the one who prefers to stay away and stares menacingly, even though she really just wants to be noticed. Then there's the groupie, whose passion for Alvin is dangerous to the mental health of those around her, especially if she decides to start a fan club. Alvin is met by either a girl or an advertisement for a fitness gym, delighted by his return so much so that his skirt is willing to give in to gravity. She's also a part-time guild employee and a local cause for high corset inflation. The magical lowly frankly doubts her powers and seems like she'd settle for ice cream in exchange for any adventures at her age. And where there's a long-eared Oni-san, there's usually compliments, slightly given off by a wild pack of elf flirting. The cherry on the cake is two equally cold and cynical twins who are convinced that the hero will melt like snow under a radiator if he tries to save them. Finally, a psychotic, or something like that lady, looking at whom you immediately feel the atmosphere of a typical female chat room. There is no way out. And, of course, it doesn't do without a God's chosen heroine, without whom any plot is just unbearably banal. The heroine doesn't let the distractions go to waste. After all, they're partners, and admiring her is almost a job requirement. The protagonist modestly states that such a harem requires a lot of patience, especially a psychiatrist. For the owner of such a collection of female attention, defeating the Demon King is a task for lazy Sunday mornings. In fact, dealing with a demonic tyrant is no harder than taking a find out which Pokemon you are test. It seems that one of the characters really gets sick after such an arrangement, as if it were an algebra test without a cheat sheet. In fact, all this epic our hero saw in a dream and woke up, relieved to realize that he was not Alvin, but a loser hitman. In reality, he is not even considered a hero, and Alvin quickly brings him down to earth, reminding him of his Norse level. Alvin says to his face, "With such skills, this boy should be bandaged, not a hero." But despite the trolling from Alvin, the hitman tries to apply his basic skill, because at least someone in this world should be putting band-aids on things. To his surprise and everyone's shock, the Cheeler does the impossible, eliminating the magical affliction, causing an explosion of fireworks of envy from those around. Him, the one who is convinced of his uselessness, proudly assures he's just a simple hitman, not a divine chosen one, though he'd better be. Suddenly, the story returns to a demon who, as it turns out, a couple years ago, could unite an entire continent with one charisma and a goofy hairdo. Under the leadership of this demonic commander, the army flooded the surrounding countries like cockroaches the kitchen after 24 hours of absence of the owners. But tonight at the Deerhorn Tavern, it's the same old thing. Boredom, silence, and the local bar trolls out of work. Someone opens the door, intrigue on the level of a banal squeak. The hero's footsteps through the establishment sound like he's come to denounce someone for the substandard foam in his mug. The rest of the adventurers meet our hitman with looks full of compassion. The beer has indeed become difficult to pass after his appearance. Even the lady behind the counter greets him with a smile on duty and a willingness to do the formalities. Meanwhile, the unsuccessful hitman proudly brings the result of his arduous mission, a basket of herbs, clearly not the kind that inserts. The receptionist is amazed at the amount of herbs he's collected, hinting that he's definitely a genius on the invisible front. She offers to do something more dangerous. For example, hunting all sorts of evil for a substantial sum. The hero is seriously thinking about increasing the rate and changing jobs, because in his status to fail any case, it is already a tradition. Meanwhile, Alvin, still the same platinum, handsome, armor-blinding beauty, enters the frame, desperately reminding us of his pathos. Titles like that give him the confidence to claim that a hitter shouldn't call him by his first name, because he is a lord and a hitter is a loser. Even the employee behind the counter is disappointed to note that our hero can't hit, just like an accountant without a calculator. Alvin publicly kicks the hitman out of the guild, stating bluntly, his treatment is harmful even to the stats, raises the degree of humiliation to the max, suggesting that the hitman would even concede to a demon rabbit in a fair fight. And the locals immediately join in the harassment, looking for any way to support the main favorite and prove that the chiller belongs somewhere between the back room and the list of untouchables. Augusta watches carefully, counting on the fact that this is not his last day on the job. Alvin in turn drills Augusta with his eyes like in a job interview when you forgot your belt. The entire tavern is suddenly on alert, and someone inwardly wishes they had brought a change of underwear. One of the residents runs into the inn with panic in his voice, exhaling the word demon as if it's Friday night, and the warden has delayed until 8 p.m. The tavern patrons immediately panic. The demon armies attack, and the people scatter as quickly as if they were giving away free shawarma. The beautiful local administrator loudly clarifies, if the city is threatened, everyone must defend it. And then, if anyone survives, there are bonuses. Upon hearing about the special reward, Augusta's eyes light up with bags of dough, which is apparently his only working skillet. Augusta asks to be allowed to participate in the defense, but the operator behind the counter reminds him he hasn't even risen to the level of a bronze kettle. Augusta assures me that he can defend himself. Apparently, he was so inspired by the dream of the prize that he decided he was immortal himself. Alvin graciously allows Augusta to join, offering the latter the luxury of being a bait and trainee corpse. Augusta immediately realizes the catch. They want to keep him as bait, while he himself thought he would at least be a living statistic and herb gatherer. Alvin promises half of a special reward if Augusta leads an army of demons all the way to the center of town. The heroes have luxury, but Augusta has a defibrillator and a mortgage. Augusta suspects it smells like divorce, even though it all looks like a standard loan with crazy interest rates. Alvin swears it's all honest. The level of trust in his smile is lower than the pension. Is easy and fast online ads. The truth is quickly revealed. Augusta will only get a cut if she stays alive. Apparently, Alvin doesn't even believe in the reincarnation of hitmen. The receptionist with her trademark smile assures that everything is under control. The main thing is that Augusta does not die before the sharing. If Augusta suddenly survives, he'll really get half the reward. For the first time, the freebie smells not of free pizza, but of death. Alvin is angry. Too much fuss over some lady interfering with his financial schemes, but he's sure it won't make a difference on the big picture. Augusta rejoices at her prospective plight. Half the reward should be enough to finally feed her sister something other than noodles. While Augusta is immersed in dreams of a delicious dinner, the others worry that part of the reward will go to such an outsider, and Alvin's comrades are starting to banter. If Augusta survives, you can take bets on cockroach versus cucumber battles. Everyone realizes, if Augusta is cannon fodder, the demon army will clearly be the first to get eeled, so it's not a given that the bounty will even be useful. Alvin gathers his gang. It's time to make the demon army play a tough quest. Get the chiller and try not to get poisoned. Turbo call. The entire crowd of adventurers on Alvin's side fly into action, shouting "we" as if it were a Happy Friday fallout. In the street chaos, only the sounds of panicked characters fleeing serve as music. A typical evening in a supermarket discount area. Augusta rushes across the rooftops, driven by heroic desperation, while someone visually reminds him of the meaning of life. Suddenly, a clawed hand appears from around the corner, as if fate itself has decided that it's time for the hitman to make his way to the cemetery. Augusta barely dodges. You can only wave your eyes like that at a pay cut in January. The hero miraculously avoids the fatal blow, while a certain figure, apparently a future sponsor of his funeral, watches him from above. The magic of the demonic crystals is blocking his path. It looks like he won't be able to go back to gathering herbs anymore, except to collect them on his grave. He realizes he's fallen into a trap. The way back is cut off. Congratulations, you've chosen a difficult way to commit suicide. At this time, the main boss of the demons appears with a look on his face as if he's going to demand repayment for the entire continent. A deadly ball of energy appears from the sky. Apparently, the award for best city destruction this month goes to this particular demon. Augusta realizes that things went just a little bit according to plan, but who cares about the opinion of the hitman in this mess? The scope of the destruction grows to the size of someone's mortgage debt. The scale of the catastrophe is suggestive. A demonic magician with hair from a shampoo commercial commands disaster, enjoying a moment of his own greatness. Alvin prepares for battle, drawing his sword with words of encouragement worthy of HR after the layoff. He unleashes his trademark cross-flying slash on the enemy, probably hoping to get at least a likes on the demon's social media accounts. Magic and sword collide, and crystals and white-haired villains begin to fall from the sky. Alvin triumphantly asks if it was really the entire demon army, forgetting that the loading screen for this raid has a second stage. Meanwhile, Augusta is happy about the little things. Money is already dancing in his eyes because his task is accomplished. Possible death is so-so as a side effect. Augusta, stunned by the sudden movement, senses something is going wrong. Alvin is putting on a surprise attack against Augusta. Clearly this is going to be an unpredictable encounter tonight. Alvin, with a rather psychopathic expression on his face, reminds us, the point of the mission is to survive, and Augusta is still alive, unfortunately for both of them. Augusta ponders philosophically that the clothes will have to be mended by her sister again, and if Alvin nails him, the guild will obviously take an interest in that. Alvin scoffs. No one will look for newcomers like Augusta, and failed healers shouldn't dream of more. Alvin was serious about showing Augusta what a true adventurer's duel was like, making a real-life threatening lesson out of the lesson. Tension thickens in the air. Someone has clearly overdone the pyrotechnics, and the other doesn't want to be a statistic in someone else's stupid show. The demon they weren't expecting enters the arena with a much more intimidating appearance. Augusta hopes to herself that an ambulance is on its way. Alvin jumps up like a gymnast, like he wants to jump right into the plot of the next chapter. He informs the demon that he too will become part of his collection, clearly overestimating the odds and underestimating his sense of self-preservation. Alvin excitedly shouts about the springboard, but which one of them ends up being a corpse instead of a springboard? Alvin responds to his ambition with a nice low kick. The demon didn't seem to share his athleticism. The demon continues to smash Alvin to the ground, as if deciding that he's a free sidewalk repair. The whole courtyard turns into a battle arena, where no one is sure anymore where the top is and where the bottom is. Augusta, watching the carnage, only manages to ask, "Alvin, are you still alive?" Alvin, with his head wedged in the cobblestones, begins to cough, as if he'd just breathed in asphalt. He's trying to mumble something out and make it look like he's not done with life yet. Finally, through pain and ruin, Alvin declares himself the greatest swordsman, perhaps a survival swordsman. Augusta realizes he was worried for nothing. "This circus will continue," Alvin yells, swinging his sword as if he believes that a simple tantrum will decide the outcome of the fight. The demon releases a wave of magic, and now, if anyone else is still alive, it's only a smudge of them. Augusta, noticing the demon's power, jokes about a possible bonus for such accomplishments, at least some perks of what happened. But when the situation becomes downright dangerous, he yells for everyone to get out of the way immediately, hinting that the demon's plant-based diet isn't for everyone. The demon is hit in the teeth with his sword, and his face becomes quite dejected, as if he ordered sushi and got noodles. Alvin is shocked. Who would have thought playing with a demon would be life-threatening? Alvin's screaming makes even the walls begin to vibrate, no matter how the city is inherited by a demon. The demon is officially introduced as the demon leader, and Alvin is pinned to the ground. Whose turn is it now? To demolish the sidewalk? Augusta mentally asks Alvin to hang in there, or else losing won't fit his record at all. The demon, after reflecting on what was happening, didn't seem to have expected this outcome of the encounter himself. Augusta, seeing the demon lunge, decides to take a chance and delivers a powerful soccer kick to the monster's head, shouting, "Prize!" The air fills with stupid tension. Augusta is surprised. Is this really it? The demon, spinning in midair, asks the philosophical question, "Will no one continue?" A little devilish chuckle from the demon. There was no one to fear here anymore, but the habit remained. The demon snorts from afar. "I understand everything," but he looks like he's forgotten why he came outside in the first place. Augusta, already laughing at the absurdity of the situation, reminds him he is, after all, an ordinary rookie loser, and any prize is already a victory. The demon looks on. With irony, what could someone like Augusta even accomplish? Augusta meets this challenge philosophically. How will you know if you don't try? And thinks that on the actions of the leader of demons, his treatment is certainly not designed. Well, at most, will become a living witness to mass extinction. The moment of truth has arrived. Augusta uses her rookie healing spell, hoping to help at least someone with it. The demon is puzzled. Is this guy in over his head? Is he hoping for an effect? The demon laughs at Augusta in exhaustion, not believing that he chose to treat his enemy, thinking he was just a funny guy. The demon begins to notice something strange. The healing process feels very different than expected. The demon's psycho reaction intensifies. He is now terrified and questioning what Augusta has done to him. Augusta reflected that he seemed to have gone a little overboard with the treatment. The effect was unexpectedly strong. The hero tiredly covers his face with the palm of his hand. What happened has definitely gone beyond the usual routine. He realizes that once again he has failed to control his power, and the demon crystal has exploded. There is no money for it now. His thoughts are on how to pay his rent and feed his sister. Against the backdrop of a defeated Alvin, Augusta realizes how absurd the result is and goes slightly into a stupor. A massive level up begins throughout the city. Other adventurers are literally leveling up before their eyes, except for one unfortunate one. The interface reveals Augusta du Zafu, Primordial Healer, Level 1, with a bunch of cryptic parameters. Augusta wonders why, despite his best efforts, he still can't raise the level. Haunted by despair, the hero screams to the sky, "Why can't he still evolve further?" There follows a brief pause against the backdrop of the city buildings, as if even the sky is offended by what is happening. Augusta receives a bag of coins as a reward for helping defeat the demon army. The guy is outraged. After all, he negotiated that he would get half of the special reward if he lured the army into the center. Not all this shame. One of the warriors mockingly reminds everyone that it was Alvin who handled the leader of the demon army and saved Augusta's life. Despite his constant talk of money, Augusta parries. He has, after all, accomplished the mission Alvin gave him, and without his help, nothing would have been accomplished. The warrior addresses the crowd, emphasizing the uniqueness of the event. Even a novice healer was able to lure 1,000 demons right into a trap in the middle of the city. The two girls point out that even a platinum adventurer would not have accomplished such a task without injury, and Augusta's success is simply his luck. Alvin recalls being surprised that a rookie like Augusta was able to run to the center, risking his life, believing his opponent to be much weaker. Alvin decides to let everyone continue to think that the leader of the demon army died by his hand in order to capitalize if the real winner reappears. At that moment, a woman rushes to him with an important message. She confirms in front of everyone that she did indeed ask Augusta to lure the army and was personally present. Alvin notes bitterly, for the sake of victory, some are still nursing in bed or haven't survived at all, while Augusta hasn't gotten a scratch. The whole company is silent, watching this dramatic moment. Even Augusta can't find anything to object to. Alvin turns on the drama, remembering that Augusta had just stood by and watched before, but even so qualifies for the award. It's just absurd for the dead. Alvin expresses his disdain. In his opinion, Augusta will remain a pathetic newcomer and hide behind other people's backs. A mysterious girl wearing a hood and minimal armor rumbles into the hall. She wonders from the doorstep which one of them is the healer. Augusta admits that he is indeed a healer, but of the most entry-level rank. The girl is mysteriously silent without revealing her intentions. Then she decisively takes Augusta with her on the mission, despite his surprise. Girl explains, Augusta is now her partner. First, she wants him to fix her up, then she wants to go into battle together. Augusta tries to show character by hinting at her principles. Internally, he realizes how strong she is and whether she is actually hurt. The girl dryly ends the argument. She is not changing her mind. It is Augusta she wants. At this point, Alvin intervenes, not letting such an obviously colorful scene pass him by, and admonishes the stranger. Alvin arrogantly proclaims his status as the most powerful adventurer in the city and offers to form a group if you will bow down to him. At this point, a counterattack occurs. Augusta's new ally noisily delivers a crushing blow to Alvin with a distinctive quack. The girl, without any pity, checks with Alvin to see if he is offended by such a prank. Alvin lies on the floor, groaning, and holding on to the fact that from now on, he will be afraid to trust strangers, especially in heavy armor. Alvin's men instantly rush to defend his honor and their territory, promising revenge for their leader being so humiliated. A girl dressed in a hooded cloak declares her desire to join the fight. Augusta asks everyone to calm down. One of the opponents attacks, but the girl easily handles the attack, intending only to teach her opponents. She deftly dodges and strikes back. Her opponent takes a powerful kick to the chest with a loud thud. The red-haired woman uses her opponent as a weapon and takes down her second opponent. In a fight, she tackles two attackers at the same time, demonstrating her strength. Alvin tries to attack her, but the girl confidently resists and expresses her displeasure by talking. She is surprised that he dared to attack her and prepares to respond. The girl says she's not going to play with them anymore. After dispersing her opponents, Augusta rates her as a good partner. He gets into a defensive posture, clearly impressed by her skill. The girl is calm, even holding her sword without much tension. Augusta is confused and observes the situation. The blonde woman watching the fight is amazed at the power of Angela, whom she calls Blood Princess. While one of the guys is lying on the ground, the girl takes his elixir. Angela drinks a revitalizing elixir to recover. A close-up shows her swallowing the potion. Everyone fears Angela, recognizing her as the strongest chosen one and begging for mercy. She declares that thanks to the potion from the lying guy, she no longer needs to treat others. Angela asks Augusta if he's ready to be her partner now. Augusta thinks about it and realizes that in front of him is the strongest chosen one on the continent. He enthusiastically agrees, considering it an honor to be on her team. Angela angrily throws Augusta out for being too close-minded, reminding her of her principles. Then the action shifts to the mountains. They reach the Mountain of the Falling Leaf. In the forest, someone is fighting a group of wolves, dealing damage to them. Augusta is surprised that Angela expends so much effort even on weak monsters. The girl is tired, breathing heavily and leaning on her sword. She instructs Augusta to collect the loot, since she's killing monsters. The young man agrees, though Angela asks to be called by her first name instead of Godmother. Augusta notices that Angela is much weaker now than she was in the battle. Perhaps she's actually a regular newcomer. He realizes that if he could attack from afar, life would be easier. Augusta asks what Alvin is doing. He replies that he is conducting an experiment with a crystal he found. Angela warns her comrade to stay close for his safety. Suddenly, a disturbing scream catches the attention of both of them. Augusta and Angela realize that the scream was nearby. They notice by the smell of blood where the sound was coming from and decide to check the place out. Augusta notes that this is exactly where they need to go. They see a mysterious man engaged in a ritual amongst stones with bloody runes. A question appears about the herbs they are going to look for, and another character confirms the location. The heroes are faced with a view of a group of men in dark cloaks, performing a ritual and prisoners bound near the stones. Angela realizes that in order to save the mission and the dead residents, they absolutely have to destroy all the demons. Augusta points out that there must be invisible guards besides the 5 enemies, and offers to find them. Augusta keeps a close eye on what's going on to make sure she doesn't miss her enemies. Angela strongly urges Augusta to go together rather than procrastinate. Augusta is surprised. It seems to him as if all the chosen ones are as tough as Angela. Angela deftly dodges the flying arrows, and her gaze becomes fierce and unwavering. Augusta loudly warns Angela of the danger. Angela deflects the attack using a huge sword. Among the ordinary arrows appears a particularly dangerous one filled with magic. A magical arrow explodes, knocking Angela to the ground. Augusta is worried, thinks Angela might have died, and doubts whether she is really only iron rank. He is afraid to be around her because of her risky actions. Demon silhouettes appear from behind the rocks. A demon with horns demands to know where the humans came from. Angela stands up, noting that she has received a painful blow. Augusta is surprised. It seems to him that Angela's strength has suddenly increased. A demon with horns threatens and demands to give them the blood of humans. He attacks Angela with a swing, and she puts her sword out to defend herself. Angela responds sharply to the threats and deflects the blow. She inflicts a severe wound on the demon, showing her superiority. The demon can't believe the man caught his blow, for not long ago it seemed impossible. There are 2 demon archers on the cliff, preparing to attack. Angela gets hit by arrows from above again. Angela intercepts the attack and throws back the arrows powerfully. The demon archers are horrified to see her power. Both demons are injured by Angela's counterpunch. Augusta ponders, her power now matching the gold rank, and wonders if Angela has been hiding her power before. The demon with horns intensifies, magic permeating his body. He uses a magic crystal to increase his power. The crystal shatters. Releasing a stream of energy, the demon becomes even more vicious and dangerous. Augusta realizes that the opponent has been strengthened by the magic crystal. The demon swiftly rushes to attack Angela. Angela takes a hard hit and flies backwards. Augusta rushes over to her and asks if she's hurt. Angela assures that she is fine and that such damage is not dangerous for her. She says to destroy the magical summoning circle as soon as possible, creating distracting chaos, and Augusta must save the residents. Augusta agrees and asks Angela to be careful. Angela gathers her strength and prepares to reinforce herself to answer the demon. The young man notices her energy has become even higher, almost reaching the mithril rank. A demon engulfed in magic prepares for a final duel with Angela. Angela bursts into the fray, swinging her sword like she's cutting not only her enemies, but their last chance to go to the bathroom properly. One of the demon's eyes went wide with shock. Perhaps he had just realized that his life was going to be short and smell like burning. Angela looks down at her opponent and wonders what cesspit he's looking into with his eyes. Clearly not victory. The enemy tries to reach the girl, but all in vain. Angela kills enemies with such ease that anatomy teachers could teach a class on her battlefield. The remaining enemies start to scatter, but a bloody dismemberment awaits them. Instead of retreating, it's a quick transplant of a body part, over there. The demon, covered in scars, is cursing. Apparently, he realized that it would not be a heroic end, but rather a surrender in the style of morning diarrhea. He's yelling to his fellow defensive linemen to protect the draft circle, but you can see that even on the seams, he has no guarantees. Angela continues to crumble her enemies in such a way that not only bodies, but also the belief in safety disappear from the landscape. The remaining pathetic cultists try to defend themselves, but they look like they're trying to go potty on their own for the first time. Hood tries to look around, and immediately catches Augusta's eye, dragging the bound prisoner behind him. He complains that the mouse has started, and Augusta waves the stick around, clearly hinting that he's going to use it for more than just fighting. Augusta casts a healing spell, but with his gloating smile, it's clear that this isn't about mercy. It's about a sneakier than a laxative. A green glow begins. Magic rushes into the cultist's chest like morning diarrhea after a bad dinner. The cultist calls out that the enemy is an idiot, because on the battlefield, treating your opponents is like signing your own judgment, but the effect is not healing at all. The poor man's face begins to swell so much that it is time to advertise a remedy for hemorrhoids. Everything explodes, and the unmade mages fly away, so fast that even their insides don't have time to realize what happened. Angela and the demon are simultaneously stunned by the unexpected outcome, which could have been a good advertisement for butt-burn cream. Angela praises Augusta for managing to kill the demon sorcerer, even though he looks like a rookie who just took off his diapers. She decides it's time to turn on the seriousness and be less cute and more of a meat cutter, like she's cutting up a carcass for a kebab. Angela rushes forward with 2 swords, showering those around her with bloody razzle-dazzle. Her Scarlet Wind attack tears enemies to shreds, turning the battlefield into dinner for the local flock of crows. Blood flies in all directions. More red comes out of some opponents than a hunting sausage. The demon gets smacked in the head and flies away, forgetting why he started this coven in the first place. He's looking for a victim for the ritual, like the last kid in school looking for an excuse why he didn't do his homework. The demon starts giving a demonic speech, about to summon some kind of boss. Judging by his face, he doesn't really believe it himself. He sacrifices himself, assuring everyone around him that he will summon a great demon, though it looks more like a self-immolation for the poor ritual. Angela already realizes that the psycho is going to open up the draft with her own lard. She throws herself at him, but apparently it's too late. The demon yells that it's giving up its soul and blood. He begins to be sucked into a magical vortex. Everything is going according to the die, nice, and epic plan. Angela notices that she's already irretrievably too late to stop the draft. Classic, when you can't stop it and you're being sucked into the muck. A portal appears in the center that looks roughly like a stomach after a night of kebabs with beer. The portal explodes, and a giant demonic face forms in the sky, promising everyone an unforgettable night. Augusta puts his arm around Angela, and both realize that the situation is the worst it's ever been, with her butt nearing the ceiling. The young man tries to calm Angela down, explaining that there's supposedly no real demon here, just some particularly nasty mutant. But then he adds, "Let's get the hell out of here, we're so pooped this boss can't handle us." A demonic leg, slowly, emerges from the portal. Judging by the hairiness, its owner hasn't been to a pedicurist in a while. The whole thing appears in full. A big demon with horns, a mask, and an axe. Augusta screams in terror, but Angela keeps her composure and demands only one thing, that the blood of her kind be preserved at all costs. Angela reminds Augusta that the more they rip off her XP, the stronger she becomes. After all, she's not just a heroine, but a walking bug with epic immunity to shit. Angela decides that to defeat such an enemy, she needs to control her blood levels by 10%. She is sure that if Augusta listens to her, everything will go smoothly. Angela reports that she has run out of healing potions, so Augusta must be in charge of healing. She will try to avoid fatal wounds. Augusta hesitates, but Angela states that, as a newcomer, he will heal her exactly enough to keep her at 10% health. Augusta wonders why Angela won't let him finish. He believes that his healing skill doesn't restore little XP, but instead can critically harm due to excessive healing. The battle begins. The monster attacks Angela with a powerful axe blow. Angela actively dodges the monster's swift attacks, intending to strike back. She takes the chance and rushes at her opponent, attacking him in melee. An enemy blow knocks off some of her armor, but Angela doesn't give up. She seizes the moment and strikes the enemy with a powerful blow. The monster is shocked by the sudden attack. Angela throws the axe away from the enemy. The fight is getting tougher. Augusta watches the fight and realizes that Angela's style is very dangerous and sloppy, even though her strength has increased. Angela strikes again, injuring her opponent. She asks Augusta to treat her faster so she can strike a decisive blow. At that moment, the monster throws an axe. Angela realizes that due to her low health, she won't be able to take another hard hit. She dodges, but her opponent isn't about to give up. The monster laughs at Augusta, believing he won't have a chance to recover. The monster decides that if he kills the healer, he wins, and rushes to attack. Angela, realizing the danger, warns Augusta. The enemy uses a powerful death rush attack, targeting both of them. Angela saves Augusta by pushing him back out of range. A crippled Angela resents Augusta for not treating her. Without his help, they are doomed. Finally, Augusta uses the beginning healing skill. Augusta explains to Angela, this skill is so powerful that it can cause a target to explode if applied to certain creatures. Angela marvels at the speed of XP recovery. It's even faster than high-level potions. Augusta is amazed that Angela is still okay after such healing. Angela replies that this is the first time she has experienced such a rapid, full recovery of HP. She informs Augusta that she has figured out a way to defeat the enemy using these treatment features. Angela demands, when she brings up treatment, Augusta must obey without question. The next moment, she rushes at the enemy with another attack. The monster calls her, move a dull trick and counterattacks. But Angela demands another treatment from Augusta. Augusta uses the initial healing skill again. A stream of green energy is channeled from Augusta to Angela, quickly restoring her strength. The enemy calls her unkillable, comparing her to a cockroach. Angela responds by attacking the enemy, demanding healing so she won't retreat. The fight goes to the brink. The enemy threatens to kill her, and Angela demands power from Augusta. Both give it their best shot. The monster tries to finish her off, but Augusta won't let her die. The enemy begins to suspect something amiss. He is surprised that Angela's XP is always restored only when it drops to a certain level. The demon marvels at the healing options and the presence of a health strip, guessing some kind of feature. Angela fights the monster furiously, blocking its powerful attack with her sword. Angela is surprised to notice that the enemy is attacking with her fist. Angela yells at Augusta not to use the healing. Augusta, in confusion, doesn't understand the reason. The monster notices this and taunts Angela's attempts, claiming that even with healing, she can't withstand his blow. The monster decides to end the fight by attacking Angela with all his might. Angela desperately asks Augusta to heal her, hoping to get lucky. Angela uses her special technique, surrounding herself with a wave of blood, causing the enemy to be surprised. She takes advantage of her 1% chance and deals lethal damage to the enemy, while restoring HP. Angela completes the attack by applying the Blood Blast skill. From its explosion, a huge flash appears, apparently destroying the enemy. Augusta watches in amazement at what is happening. The girl stands victorious amidst the fog. The young man calls her the God's chosen one. The power of the blast strikes the ground, leaving a huge crater. Augusta tries the herbs, explaining that they only stop the bleeding and don't affect anything else. He notes that such herbs do not help adventurers, but are quite popular among ordinary people. Angela approaches Augusta, who is assisting the injured man, and speaks about the completion of the task. Augusta confirms that you can't leave rescued people alone. On the way, they discuss how Angela managed to survive the explosion of her body while maximizing Augusta's treatment. Angela explains that she survived because she was losing blood faster than the healing worked. Augusta is amazed by her abilities, for she was able to calculate his cure in a short time. Angela says she was found by Augusta on the road and points out that losing a lot of HP takes a big toll. Angela tells me that she was betting on 1% HP, enough to defeat her opponent if the risk pays off. Augusta thinks Angela is the real crazy one, since she trusted such a risk. The girl confesses that she is the chosen of the god, but because of the nature of her power, she is both the strongest and weakest among the chosen. Angela notes that even as a beginner, Augusta's level of healing is the most powerful among the Tier 1 supports. The girl confesses that she has to constantly lower her health for strength, but her method is no good for ordinary treatment. Augusta listens while Angela explains that his treatment, though powerful, is too slow. For normal people, such treatment is like chronic poison. Angela reaches out and suggests that Augusta team up so that the weakest can become the strongest together. Angela smilingly invites Augusta to join the team, emphasizing that she needs him. Augusta looks thoughtfully at Angela's outstretched hand. He repeats to himself the words about the combination of the weakest and the strongest. Augusta decides to give it a try, and they shake hands. Angela voices that a team of the weakest chosen and the weakest novice support has now formed. Augusta adds that they are now the strongest team. Augusta has a terrible dream. His clothes are covered in blood, and he doesn't understand the reason for it. In the dream, he is desperate, thinking that all he wanted to do was help with treatment, but there is chaos and rejection all around. Augusta wakes up suddenly. Turns out it was just a dream, and he wonders what happened. Shows the peaceful morning landscape outside the window of the house. Augusta is in a good mood and prepares breakfast and calls Anna to join the meal. Sis, in turn, prepared a gift for her big brother. Anna happily shows Augusta his mended jacket. Augusta puts on her jacket and approves of Anna's work. She looks pleased. Anna asks Augusta why he came home late yesterday and if something happened. Anna is concerned, suspecting that if she weren't so weak, she could share her brother's worries. Augusta calms Anna down and rubs her head. He explains that it is the duty of the older brother to take care of his younger sister and asks him to wait until she is fully recovered to help her later. Anna promised that she would talk about it when she got better. After that, the blue sky and clouds are shown. Augusta walks out of the house, closing the door behind her. He is met outside the house by Angela with a greeting. Augusta is abruptly startled, mistaking Angela for a ghost. She is perplexed by his mannerisms. Angela explains that she came to his house because the team hasn't decided on a meeting place yet. Augusta jokes about waiting for her at home with no bad intentions. Angela gets angry. Augusta excuses himself to Angela, assuring that he knew nothing about the situation. Inside the house, the two men argue loudly, accusing each other of them sending Trisha somewhere last night. Augusta wonders what happened, and one of the guys reports that Trisha hasn't returned after being drafted by another guy named Alvin. The interlocutor explains that Trisha has a liking for Alvin, though the elf doesn't approve. Augusta and Angela realize it's about love issues. Alvin, in armor, announces that if the team doesn't trust each other, they will be disbanded, but he is in charge of solving the mission. Someone yells after him if he wants to escape, calling Alvin's name. Augusta decides she doesn't need to think about it that much and looks at the job board. A guild worker greets Augusta, offering to help. He asks to be given the most difficult assignment. A guild worker describes a hunting mission in the Black Smoky Mountains. Difficulty level is A+. Augusta states that the decision has been made. Angela is surprised but doesn't have time to object. Angela says embarrassedly that today is not the most convenient day for her and suggests that she choose an easier task. A guild worker asks if Lady Angela is all right. She proposes a B+ mission, asking if that option would work. Angela asks to lower the difficulty level a little more. The guild worker says that only the Class C herb gathering task will remain then. Angela happily agrees and says the decision has been made. She picks up the mission scroll and is enthusiastic. Augusta looks at her with slight bewilderment, observing the situation from the sidelines. Meanwhile, 6 magical boars are shown posing a danger due to collective action. Angela asks Augusta what to do, whether to bypass the animals, but he insists on action. Augusta decides to attack everyone. At the same time, Angela is surprised at this determination. The boars watch them warily, preparing to defend themselves. Augusta loudly provokes the boars, challenging them to a fight. He then turns to Angela, telling her that the rest is up to her. Angela suddenly leaps forward, and Augusta watches her leap disconsolately. Left alone, Augusta comes face to face with the enraged boars. Augusta realizes he's finished. Augusta and Angela are running away from a pack of animals. Angela insists that they need to solve the problem as before, but Augusta disagrees. They hide in a tree, watching the pack of beasts pass by. Both breathe heavily, relieved. Augusta notices Angela's strange behavior and asks if everything is okay, since normally such beasts would not be a threat to her. Angela tries to explain something. Augusta reflects that everyone has their secrets, but believes that basic information should not be hidden, because then everyone would be in danger. Angela is embarrassed and decides she will tell Augusta everything. A scream interrupts Angela's explanation. It is so unexpected that the birds fly away. Augusta exclaims that the Chosen One's power works too rarely and their combination is the weakest. He is angry that Angela used to pretend to be strong. Angela excuses herself. Augusta is pensive and silent, immersed in his thoughts. Angela decides to forget about what happened because the deposit for the mission cannot be returned, and offers to continue the mission. At the same time, She complains of a foul odor. Augusta explains that this odor scares off the gremlin wolves, and as long as they don't come close, nothing is threatened. Augusta starts talking about something else, and Angela listens to him with interest. Turns out Augusta sells the potion for 5 silver a bottle. Angela calls him greedy. They find the herbs they need for the task, rejoicing in their good fortune. Augusta notes that the herbs collected will be enough for additional rewards. Angela joyfully dreams of getting rich on such missions. Finished packing, Angela offers to go back, and he teases her that he did most of the work. Angela steps on someone's hand without noticing it in the grass. They are surprised to realize that there is someone in front of them, and believe it to be a magical beast. Augusta stops Angela, clarifying that it's not a beast at all. Augusta looks at the found man with surprise. They realize they've found Alvin. The next day, the blonde gives them a new assignment to gather herbs. She wonders why, after yesterday's events, the heroes chose such a simple task. Angela agrees with fake joy, making the excuse that she needs to recover. Augusta is not happy with this deception. Someone is handing in a pledge for a new B+ assignment. Suddenly, Alvin appears, surprising everyone. Alvin explains that he wants payback for saving his life. Alvin assures that he will try his best on the eye. Next assignment, and offers to change the assignment. Augusta and Angela shout with glee that there is no need to change the assignment. Alvin wonders why they won't, since Angela is known as the Blood Princess, and for her such missions are a waste of time. Augusta hints to Alvin about the other meaning of the nickname Blood Princess. Alvin understands, and Angela is confused. Alvin decides to temporarily join their team. He is officially asking Augusta to be his mentor on the team. Augusta looks at Alvin's outstretched hand, looking a little surprised. The team shakes hands, agreeing to work together. During the next mission, Alvin shows his fighting strength by defeating enemies. Thanks to Alvin, the mission goes very easily and without casualties. Angela and Augusta lavish praise on Alvin, and he demands silence due to their excessive bluster. Augusta suggests celebrating the successful completion of the mission. Angela agrees, and Alvin pretends not to be particularly impressed. Everyone raises their glasses together, noting that missions are now easier and more successful. The next day, Augusta wonders to Alvin if he is tired of being with them all the time as they walk through town. Alvin stops in front of Augusta and Angela, expressing doubt or bewilderment about something. Augusta notices that Alvin is different and has the potential to develop. Angela asks if that includes her. Alvin shows annoyance towards Augusta, urging him not to fancy himself an important person, and beats him over the head. Alvin explains that his decision is his personal choice, and the current relaxed pace of life suits him better. Augusta approves of Alvin's decision, but their conversation is interrupted by a stranger who calls out to Alvin. A man and his crew approach and tell him that he wants to talk to Alvin about the recent disappearance of their companion. Augusta tries to explain that Alvin was with them, but the man cuts him off abruptly, claiming it's none of his business. Alvin offers to go with the stranger alone so the others won't be involved. The strangers lead Alvin away, and Augusta looks after them anxiously, calling out to Alvin. Alvin sums it up to himself. He has paid for the favor he has rendered. Alvin says his goodbyes, apologizing for the delay. Night falls. The city falls asleep. Augusta walks to the door, reflecting that many people associated with Alvin have recently disappeared. Augusta concludes that Alvin has been with them all along, hence he cannot be the culprit. He reasons that the culprit is acting daily, which means he's in a hurry and is likely to show up this night. Angela joins him. Seeing Angela's sudden appearance, Augusta is startled and perceives what is happening as déjà vu. During their search together, Angela asks if he has found the criminal's lair. Augusta replies that he only knows the approximate location so far. Angela approves of Augusta's actions, recognizing his abilities. They find themselves in a nighttime forest with fireflies shining everywhere. Augusta and Angela hide in the bushes, watching Alvin and the blonde ahead, and spot the target. One of the opponents asks with a smile if they are ready. The girl with mesmerizing eyes confirms her readiness by turning to Alvin. An opponent threatens, demanding that you give him your life. A battle ensues, with Alvin swiftly attacking his opponent. The blonde is confused, not understanding why she is suddenly in the midst of events. Alvin orders the girl to run away, while he himself is left to fight. Alvin asks the girl to warn the others about the demon invasion, and she runs away. The main antagonist is surprised to find his enemy close by. Alvin lunges at his opponent with vigor, explaining that he's not afraid of traps and is ready to deal with him. Suddenly, Alvin is grabbed by a purple-colored tentacle, and he tries to fight back. The adversary makes the excuse that he is not acting out of fear of being caught, but to prevent the target from escaping. Alvin finds himself completely bound by tentacles, and the antagonist confirms his intention. To not let him out, Angela rushes into action to save Alvin despite the danger. Alvin, showing courage, says he has finally found the enemy. They are thrown back toward Augusta. The antagonist rejoices. He's happy that the targets have caught themselves, and declares his advantage. The enemy's tentacles begin to tighten, and Augusta cries out in pain. The enemy declares with a mad grin that it is not necessary to return the target alive, and intends to suck Augusta dry. Augusta screams in pain as she resists her enemy's death grip. Augusta and Alvin are trapped in the monster's tentacles. But Alvin delivers a powerful blow to free himself. Angela catches an exhausted Augusta so he doesn't fall. Alvin orders Augusta and Angela to leave first, promising to delay the enemy. But in that same second, Alvin took a direct stab to the heart. Augusta calls out to Alvin in consternation, worried about him. Alvin finds himself thrown out by the monster. An evil adversary lurking behind Alvin's guise taunts the hero's friendship and claims that no one can leave this place. Angela is angry about her enemy's bullying and prepares to fight. Captured by the monster, the enemy threatens Augusta, believing he is doomed. The enemy is about to deliver a fatal blow to Augusta. Augusta uses the heal spell on herself to recover. Soon, something strange happens. The monster's tentacles begin to swell. The opponent suddenly realizes that a cleansing has begun to take place within him, resulting in an explosion of energy. Augusta explains to Angela the difference between instant and gradual healing, assuring her that he can handle it himself. The enemy doubts Augusta, pointing out that he is only a first-level healer. His opponent yells for Augusta to keep his head up and attacks with redoubled fury. Augusta uses the healing spell again, confidently working against the enemy. The enemy tries to knock Augusta back with a spell, but is himself surprised by what is happening. The monster was extremely surprised. He recognizes that the young man is really strong. Evil summons an even larger black magic hand for a powerful attack against Augusta. A huge magical explosion occurs, consuming the surrounding space. Augusta finds himself face-to-face with the enemy and says hand-to-hand combat is his advantage. The enemy loses his advantage and is struck by a powerful healing light. The enemy begins to swell, losing control, while Augusta remains standing still, glowing green. Angela is amazed at her opponent's strength and magic as she watches the battle. Augusta calls Angela for help. The situation is becoming extremely dangerous. Augusta yells for someone to help them. Augusta informs her that she can no longer use her healing skill and another healer must be found immediately. Alvin, lying in his friend's arms, apologizes to Augusta for looking down on him earlier. Augusta tells him not to apologize, urging Alvin to hang in there until he's better. Alvin's hand slips from Augusta's shoulder, and Alvin barely whispers his name. Alvin falls to the ground and asks Augusta to survive, giving his last hope to his friend. The young man shouts Alvin's name in a panic. Angela notices that Alvin's condition is critical. Augusta leans over Alvin's body, feeling grief. She informs Augusta that Alvin is already dead. Augusta, unable to hold back her tears, asks why he, as a healer, could not save his friend. Augusta can't believe what has happened and desperately cried out in pain. Funeral flowers are shown. Cremation and cemetery costs are only 1 silver coin. Augusta stands mournfully by the grave with Angela, pondering the cost of human life. Augusta realizes that for an adventurer, losses among comrades are commonplace. He appeals to Angela to take care of his weak sister while he is away. He shows Angela a fragment found from the demon, which causes the girl to be surprised. Augusta explains that it is part of his sister's spiritual core, and that only one person possesses the rest of it, so he must return it. Angela is confused and doesn't understand what is happening to the spiritual core. Augusta recalls that it all happened 7 years ago. At that time, he was engaged in treating the inhabitants and was absent from the castle. He assured the sick girl's parents that she would recover if she just rested. The family thanked Augusta for his help and kindness, and he replied that he had simply done his duty. Augusta was a foster child, but the family treated him as their own. That's why he wanted to thank people and become famous for helping the people of the territory. Back at the castle, Augusta notices a strange silence. As he approaches the door, he smells the odor of blood. A young man rushes into the room, shouting out names, Bruce and Prima. There he sees the fallen maids and rushes on. Knowing that something terrible has happened, after rescuing someone, he turns to Bruce and Prima, hoping to find them alive. Running around the castle, Augusta can't find anyone and calls out to the others. In desperation, He hopes someone is still alive. He finds people, but they had no signs of life. Augusta hurries up the steps, trying to get there in time to help. He sees a scary picture and freezes in horror. At that moment, Augusta guesses something. He finds Anna among the others, looking for signs of life. Once there, he panics and tries to wake his sister, with tears in her eyes. Augusta calls out to Anna and begs her to wake up. Suddenly, Anna's breathing becomes faint. Augusta hugs her and is surprised to hear her breathing. He decides he won't let her die and begins to heal her with magic. Anna is surrounded by healing energy, but is unresponsive. No matter how much Augusta tried to treat Anna, she would not wake up. Later, he realized that she had lost her spiritual core. The spiritual core is the source of human strength and life. Losing it means death. To save his sister, Augusta transferred part of his spiritual core to Anna, and even though it didn't merge completely, it allowed her to live. However, he doesn't know how much longer he can stay like this, and realizes he must find whoever took Anna's core. Angela tries to stop him, asking, now that he himself doesn't have a spiritual core. The girl is surprised, for she has never heard of anyone surviving without a spiritual core before. Augusta admits that he doesn't know why he stayed alive, but all his powers can no longer grow. His abilities have ceased to develop. But Angela wonders if he can't be an ordinary person with such a knack for healing. She concludes that his body will not withstand the power of a god's chosen one. Angela decides what they should do next. She invites Augusta to travel with her to Omalipus, where there is a man who can possibly unlock the mystery of his body. Augusta tries to object, but Angela emphatically informs him that his business is now hers too. Angela is optimistic and believes that together they will be the strongest team. In the morning, the house is lit up with sunlight. A new day has dawned. Augusta returns home and is immediately accosted by Anna. Anna anxiously asks where he's been all night. Augusta hugs his sister, explaining that he had some things to take care of. Angela wonders if this is the sister she's been told about. Anna looks on in surprise. Angela introduces herself as Augusta's partner and greets Anna. Anna says hello too and warns that she's not sure if Angela can take care of her brother. Angela marvels at Anna's cuteness and immediately hugs her tightly, which embarrasses Anna. Augusta earnestly tells Angela not to hit on his sister. Angela makes the excuse that Anna is too nice. Augusta tells Anna the big news. Starting tomorrow, they are going on a trip to Omalipus. Augusta warns that she doesn't know how long the trip will take and that it will be much more dangerous in Omalipus. Anna asks to take her along, promising not to be a burden and to behave. Augusta looks thoughtfully at his sister, his eyes reflecting Anna. Augusta apologizes, and yet, Augusta agrees to take Anna with her, reminding herself of their promise to always be together. Anna happily agrees. In the main square, they are denied their request to join forces with others because those others don't have the strength to take care of the new people. Augusta notes that teaming up with someone would be safer, but will have to spend money. Angela says she has the money and supports the idea so as not to cause trouble for others. Angela gives the bag of money to Augusta and Anna, surprising them. It soon becomes clear that the sack is almost empty. Angela laments her poverty. A group of guys approach them and offer to form a team with them to hike to Omalipus. Augusta is surprised, but it is explained to them that this is compensation for the past. The heroes happily agree to team up. 3 days pass and Augusta, Angela, and Anna arrive in the new town of Omalipus. Their new crew bid them a friendly farewell at the start of the adventure. Anna asks where they're going next. Angela explains that they have to walk a little farther. Augusta worries that they need to check into a hotel first, but Angela assures her friend's place is cheaper. She warns that they need to be mentally prepared, Shirley is a special hostess. Along the way, they witness one guy being chased away with threats. The formidable warrior expresses his hatred for those who take work for free, rather than taking orders away from him. The warrior threatens the guy with serious consequences if he repeats the mistake. Angela notices that Omalipus is more dangerous than he seemed at first. Anna became frightened. Angela calmly remarks that this is commonplace in the big city and calls for everyone to move on. Augusta and Anna follow Angela to her next destination. At the hotel, they discover a girl with long blonde hair sleeping. Augusta is amazed to see the girl and wonders why she is here. The heroes are startled to see if she is alive, fearing that an accident has befallen her. One girl with long blonde hair lies unconscious on the floor. The building's sign says R.I. This girl wakes up and seems very happy to be alive. At the table, she apologizes to Augusta, Angela, and Anna for ruining them, and Angela remarks that she rarely sees people falling from hunger. The girl explains that she finds herself in different circumstances, Angela agrees that she can't reveal the reasons why. The girl thanks the group for their help because without them, she would have starved to death. Angela assures him it's no trouble and asks him not to worry, while Augusta is outraged that his money is being wasted. The girl's name is Evely. She is an archer and an iron rank adventurer. She says that she can be called upon for help. Angela says goodbye to Evely, and Augusta notes that there may be one more person on the team now. A red-haired guy comes up to Augusta and says they were tricked because they're new. He tells them that Evely has been kicked out of the house for being lazy, is not allowed to return, and is looking for somewhere to eat, pretending to be hungry. Augusta decides that she and Evely won't meet again anyway. Angela leads everyone to a building she's wanted to show off for a long time. Augusta notes that Underground Pavilion is an old name. Angela explains that this is a former old hotel that has been rebuilt. She runs inside and cheerfully calls out to Shirley. Shirley grudgingly and wonderingly asks why she has come. Augusta gets the feeling that Shirley is showing a distinct dislike. Angela insists that they are friends, but Shirley rudely rebuffs her. The girl reports that she's brought a guest. Shirley changes abruptly and greets everyone cheerfully, offering a discount for new guests. A young man asks Shirley if she's the one Angela was talking about, and if she can help with his body. Shirley doesn't understand what this is about. And at this moment, Augusta thinks her facial expression is very pressured. Augusta is amazed that Shirley guessed his profession and level, though he didn't say so. He praises the ability, and Shirley wonders what's going on. Augusta introduces himself as an aspiring healer and tells him that he has lost his spiritual core, causing him to be unable to control magic. He passionately asks to be taught how to control magical energy. Shirley doesn't believe him, saying it's impossible to live without a spiritual core, and questions why an aspiring healer would want to control magic. Angela and Augusta try to convince her, but Shirley replies that she can't believe what she hasn't seen. Shirley agrees to help since they insist. She takes out a magic crystal to test magical abilities. Shirley explains to Augusta how to use the crystal and the meanings of the colors, describing the different types of magic. Shirley notes that white light indicates no properties. At most, it is slightly glowing. Suddenly, she sees the light become unusually bright. Augusta holds up a crystal that begins to emit an incredible glow. Shirley panics and orders the crystal to be thrown away sooner, or it will explode. Angela grabs the crystal and prepares to throw it away. The crystal is thrown out the window. There is a huge explosion outside with fire and a bright flash. Augusta, Angela, Anna, and Shirley look up, surprised by the results of the power measurement. Shirley says that the magnesium crystal can determine the strength of magic at steel level or even heroic rank. She suspects why Augusta, a newcomer, has such strength. Shirley asks Augusta, in surprise and outrage, who he is. Augusta introduces herself as a novice healer. Shirley is not happy with this and is annoyed by this response. It is explained that the spiritual core is the source of all human power and a kind of container. If this container is lost, the power becomes uncontrollable. Shirley ponders whether this could really happen. Angela asks Shirley if there is a solution to Augusta's problem, and she confirms that there is. Shirley explains that power belongs to the individual himself, regardless of the presence of a spiritual core. One's own power cannot reject its owner. Shirley tells Augusta that he can only solve his problem by himself. The main reason for his difficulties is fear of his own power. She assures her that if Augusta can learn to control this power, he can be the best support. She, however, doubts if that is true if he is only level 1. Augusta begins to question whether
he is truly afraid of his power. Shirley and Augusta pay attention to what's going on.
And Anna is surprised. Anna suggests her brother Augusta go pick out a room, and they run upstairs, leaving Shirley and Angela behind. Shirley sees everyone off, wishing them a good day. Evely is surprised to notice the appearance of Augusta and his company. Augusta and Angela are surprised by Evely's sudden appearance. Evely remembers some urgent business and quickly runs away. Augusta catches up with Evely, preventing her from escaping. He reproaches Evely for why, despite the lack of money. For food, she was able to rent a room. Evely excuses herself but admits to lying. Augusta isn't angry about the deception, but says he doesn't feel comfortable with his feelings being played with. Evely apologizes and promises not to do it again. Evely notices Anna and asks who she is. Anna cries, and Evely, smarting, thinks she's incredibly cute. Evely wonders if she's not loved, and Anna hides behind Augusta. The young man wonders why everyone is so fond of cradling Anna, and even envies it. Evely informs her that she won't be able to pay, but she has a simple task that can be rewarded for completing. Augusta is surprised by this approach. Evely shows the map and tells about a C+ ranked quest that everyone will be able to complete and receive a reward. There is no limit to the number of participants. Angela is wary and asks if there's ever an assignment without a limit and a reward, and Evely assures her that everything is fair. The assignment is issued through the mansion. Elfie warns that the more people there are, the less everyone will get, but notes that it's still an easy way to get money. Angela and Augusta come to the realization that you can just follow the others and still get the reward. They realize that if others think the same way, the task may become more difficult. Evely declares that she has a dream. She dreams of making easy money and living a carefree life without working. The Elfis ingeniously reasoned that if anyone else decided to hide at the end, they could just backtrack even further. That way they wouldn't lose in this game. Augusta and Angela are impressed with Evely's logic. Augusta calls Evely a genius, and they happily make a deal to do a mission together. Anna ponders that there should be no problem in Evely's scheme. In the mine, Evely explains that a lot of people have taken this mission, but thanks to the mine's branches, the crowd will soon split up, and you need to keep an eye on what's going on. Evely emphasizes the importance of always following the group from behind for safety. Angela agrees that an observer is needed. Augusta confirms that everything is clear. The heroes form an unusual pyramid on top of each other for better observation. It's their ideal tactic. The young man is jubilant. The reward will be very easy to get. Outside observers marvel at Team Augusta's odd posture and even get jealous. One of the fighters fights a giant beast, dealing it a fatal blow. After defeating the monster, the group stands alert while the other members cheer each other on. One of the participants rebukes the others for just watching and making noise rather than helping in the battle. Someone notices a new monster and draws the others' attention to the danger. Our friends are concerned about the situation that has unfolded. The group encounters a soldier-level monster and is forced into battle. The leader tries to cheer everyone up by telling them not to be afraid and to fight together. Augusta is the first to decide to flee, urging the others to flee. Angela, Augusta, and Evely run away with the others, while the other contestants complain that they can't keep up. Suddenly, an even more enormous creature appears in front of everyone, which scares the group even more. The Avman. Team members realize they are surrounded by monsters and begin to search for rescue. Evely, Augusta, and Angela try to fend off the new attack after feeling threatened. The heroines fall down through a cave-in, finding themselves in an even more difficult situation. Evely becomes serious and stares ahead. She uses her wind magic to protect the team. The Elfess creates a stream of wind to slow the entire team's fall. Using magic, the girls land, though Augusta finds herself in an awkward position, sticking her head into the ground. He is shocked at what happened to him after the fall. Evely looks around and concludes that they are on the 3rd level, where it is particularly dangerous. Suddenly there is a threat in the cave. The shadow of a giant monster appears in the way. Angela recognizes the enemy and warns that it is a soldier-level monster. She orders us to prepare for battle. Evely uses the new Cyclone Arrow spell, unleashing a magical projectile. The arrow hits the monster, dealing serious damage. Angela thanks Evely for her support and prepares to deliver the finishing blow. Angela delivers a strong blow with her sword. Angela's punch slices the monster in two, ending the fight. The monster's blood was everywhere. Angela triumphs, showing that she did it without much difficulty. However, a whole pack of monsters appears from behind, to which the other contestants turn their attention. A leader with a distinctive horn appears and the situation becomes even more tense. Angela and Evely are forced to rush to escape the oncoming horde of monsters. The silhouette of an unknown warrior appears ahead, which surprises the group. They realize that only very experienced adventurers should be at this level. Augusta screams for help, turning to the stranger. The warrior picks up a heavy weapon, clearly about to engage in combat. A strong gust of wind and Evely's strength throws the enemies off to the sides, clearing the way. The team is whisked away in a whirlwind, and everyone screams in panic. Augusta tries to get out from under the rubble, coming to her senses after everything that has happened. The group lies exhausted, and the new warrior states that he was unable to finish off the enemy. A big guy appears before them, a platinum-ranked adventurer named Harold Rupert, whose visit clearly means something. Augusta was outraged to see that the mace-wielding giant had nearly clobbered them with his attack, with wounded or dead people lying around. Augusta was shocked at what was happening. He realized that the fallen on the ground were humans, not monsters. Evely and Angela noticed that the wounds on the bodies were not from monsters, but had a distinct odor of blood. The girls realized that this smell was coming from the big guy with the mace. Harold smugly noted the girls' intelligence, but added that they weren't as smart as he was, and explained why he didn't like smart people. Augusta asked Harold why he had killed all those people. He answered bluntly that it was for money. For him, wealth was the most important thing. Angela was outraged, saying that it wasn't worth killing your own for money, and wondered if he was out of his mind. Harold called her naive, explaining that only a few can stand at the top and the rest are just stepping stones. He only cares about his own gain. Harold said that the weak always gather in teams, but such groups are easy for him to defeat. In his opinion, if he kills them all, the reward goes to him alone. He reminded them that there was an elite monster behind them at the exit, and if they wanted to get out, they would have to fight him. There was no other way. Harold wonders if they have decided to prefer a quick death from him or try to fight back and still die. Angela is getting ready to engage, and Augusta tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen. Harold attacks, suddenly creating a powerful shockwave. The wave sweeps everything away, and Angela tries to protect Augusta while she rushes into attack. Augusta assures him that he's fine and asks him not to worry about him. Angela jumps on Harold, expecting to attack from above. Harold blocks a jab, saying there's too much difference in strength between them. Angela is thrown back by his counterattack, losing her sword and control of the situation. At that moment, Evely shoots at Harold and almost hits. Evely is sure she won't miss now. Harold tries to attack Evely, accusing her and the others of using dark arrows. Harold is angry that the attacks are distracting him. Evely lands a painful punch in return. Despite her wounds, Evely decides that her attack is bound to hit its target. Harold summons a powerful vortex of wind with a roaring scream, blocking Evely's attack. Angela is furious and throws herself back into the fray. Harold declares that no matter how many attempts she makes, she still won't beat him. At this time, Harold is suddenly bound by magical vines. Harold is shocked and doesn't realize when it happened. Angela delivers a powerful sword strike from the bottom. A solid cut throws Harold upwards. Augusta celebrates Angela's success, but she notices her opponent wasn't seriously hurt by that punch. Evely warns Angela of the danger. Angela notices the threat and freezes. Harold strikes Angela with a barrage of hard punches to the back. News appears that the elite monster has gotten to the first floor and the exit is now blocked. Harold gloatingly declares that it's time to end their game. Augusta supports the injured Angela and asks if she is all right. The girl can barely hold on, assuring that she is fine. Augusta analyzes that while Angela's injuries are not fatal, she cannot continue fighting in this condition. Augusta watches Evely and realizes that the archer's body is much more fragile than the warrior's. In his opinion, Evely had already reached her limit and would no longer be able to fight. Harold realizes that the rank difference between them and their opponent is too great, so they can't handle him. But Augusta realizes that if nothing is done, their entire team will die right there. Memories of a tragedy from the past flash before Augusta, and he vows to find a way to save everyone. He desperately tries to think of a way out, calling himself to action. Angela, struggling to hold on, asks Augusta to heal her. For as long as they have health, they can continue the fight. Augusta panics and says she is badly injured and could die. Angela replies that they also have a chance to survive if they try. Angela assures Augusta to have faith in her and tells him that everything will be okay. Harold scoffs, saying they won't get out alive no matter how much they talk. Angela throws herself into the fray, confident in the need to try despite the risks. She asks Evely if she can keep fighting. Evely agrees and says that of course he will continue to fight. Angela asks Evely for support so they can all stand strong. Augusta tries to stop them, but doesn't get a chance to speak. Harold, losing patience, threatens to kill Angela. When Angela attacks, Harold prepares a powerful punch. Evely shoots Harold, distracting him to help Angela. Harold turns his attention to Evely and curses. At this point, Harold smiles slyly, believing he was able to fool them. Angela is surprised by this development. Harold admits that it was Angela he was following all along. Angela takes a hard hit and screams in pain. Augusta calls out to Angela in a panic, realizing that she could die. To save her, Augusta casts a healing spell. He then activates his awakened infinity skill. At the same moment, Angela bursts into battle with renewed vigor. Angela prepares for the decisive blow by focusing on her opponent. Harold is stunned by her attack and can't believe what's happening. He is shocked at the power that could have killed her, but couldn't. Angela uses all of her power for a crushing attack from above. Harold notices that the source of the unusual power comes from Augusta. Realizing this, he focuses all his hatred on Augusta. Augusta is alarmed to see that Harold has turned his attention to him. With menace in his voice, Harold attacks Augusta with a powerful punch. Angela, with her sword, gets between Harold and Augusta, ready to defend him. The team strikes back, and Angela uses Scarlet Split. After the blow, Harold falls to the ground, blaming his enemies for what happened. Harold, in desperation, uses a mysterious crystal to change the course of the battle. Augusta is surprised to notice that there is a fragment of unusual power in front of them. At this moment, the opponent transforms, engulfed in a strange energy. The enemy's body begins to distort and change, and his screams echo throughout the space. Augusta is stunned by what is happening and can't understand what has happened. The enemy transforms into a huge demon with horns, preparing to attack. The demon with red eyes says it has the power of fragments. Angela passes the initiative to Augusta to continue the fight, and they switch places. Augusta is confident he can handle it and is preparing for his exit. The demon laughs and doubts the healer's effectiveness against himself. He sharply attacks Augusta, demanding that he stop joking around. Augusta prepares a powerful spell and gathers energy. He applies a basic healing skill, creating a huge wave of green energy. The demon is confused, not realizing what is happening to him because of the green glow on his arm. Augusta explains that his biggest mistake was not wanting to use a gun. He uses the basic healing skill again, attacking the demon with healing power. At that moment, the man's belly swells like a bowling ball. Meanwhile, Evely and Angela watch Augusta's display of power and don't understand how a novice healer can do such a thing. Angela assures him that he will make the strongest aspiring healer in the world. After the victory, the heroes run through the tunnel, in search of an exit. Augusta reasons that the exit is blocked, and they can only get out with their own strength, as there is still an elite demonic beast waiting for them. Evely asks if everything is okay, since Augusta is still here and ready to move on. Augusta admits that his power isn't always handy to use, and the beast is too attentive and won't let you get close. Suddenly they hear a noise. Guards are fighting somewhere nearby. The team quickly runs in the right direction to avoid wasting time. In the tunnel, they are met by an elite demonic beast attacking a squad of guards. The guards fail. The monster scatters the defenders to the sides. One of the fighters states that the healers have run out of mana and can't deal with the monster. Augusta tries to use her healing skill to support the squad at least a little. Augusta offers his help in destroying the monster together, and the guards thank him. Someone notices that the beast has disappeared, but a moment later the monster lashes out again, knocking down several guards at once. Augusta notices too many people dropping out at once. The beast lurks underground again, attacking unexpectedly. Suddenly he attacks, knocking down another fighter. Augusta tries to heal the fallen man during the battle. He's worried because he doesn't have mass healing skills at a distance, and he won't be able to help all the wounded alone. Looking around, Augusta searches for anyone who might be able to help. He circles the space, hoping to find more healers among the outliers. The battle continues and the number of wounded is increasing. Augusta realizes that if things continue like this, they will lose, and something urgently needs to be done. He realizes he can't go on like this. The young man panics as he realizes that the situation is critical and everyone is in danger of dying. Augusta turns to Angela, asking if she can use her power again while Angela only has 30% energy left. Angela struggles to admit that her limit is just holding a gun, and she doesn't have the strength for more than that now. Evely prepares her magic to deal with the threat that has appeared. Evely notices something glowing and begins to realize that this could be a chance. Evely tells Augusta and Angela that she knows a way to defeat the beast, but she will need help. The Elfess explains that her attack requires airflow, but a certain point can't be hit directly, and if she can widen the gap, she has a chance to win. Augusta gathers everyone who could help and asks for volunteers who can destroy the top of the rupture. The other girl explains that her magic won't be enough to penetrate that distance, and the attack will be weak. Suddenly, one of the elves suggests using a bomb filled with gunpowder, which with the right distance can create an explosion at the right point. Another participant asks the archer to shoot this bomb, but the archer panics and says he can't, because the bomb is completely unsuitable for archery. An argument erupts between the contestants as to whether they can try harder, but one of them replies that trying harder doesn't solve everything. Evely says there's another way. She suggests using the monster as a springboard for a second jump in the air to reach the desired point. The distribution of roles begins. Several people are arguing over who should be the baton, for one of the guards is afraid that even his defense can't withstand the monster's strike. The warrior agrees to accept the baton and also to take the hit, counting on the defense and on being healed. Augusta shows healing magic, assuring the man that he won't die from the wound. The warrior fights and rushes forward with a large shield to fulfill his commitments, but some participants believe that for a bronze level, it amounts to suicide. The man jumped up, screaming with exertion as he tried to complete the mission. The tank gets a healing stream while it is being attacked by a monster, but it continues to burst forward. One of the elves throws a warrior a bomb in the air to try to reach the right point. The man's shoulder pops out, and he realizes that he can't use his arm strength now. Despite his injury, Harold is trying to keep the bomb out. With no other choice, he kicks the shield up with his leg. The bomb went through the only hole in the cave. At this point, the mage uses a fireball to blast the bomb. After that, rocks start falling from the ceiling. Evely declares that it's her turn now and begins to concentrate mana for the final strike. Evely unleashes a powerful starburst spell directly at the monster. A powerful magical beam rushes towards the beast, reaching its target. The monster takes crushing damage and loses its ability to fight back. The monster falls from the hard blow, and Evely stares at it from behind, in control of the situation. Evely, smiling, reports that they have survived, and the beast is finally defeated.